today we have our first ever Q&A on this channel. Thank you guys very much for not making me look stupid last video and actually leaving a lot of very good questions in the comment section. I was afraid it was gonna be a ghost town down there. All right, let's get right to it. Let's start off with a question from Big Tom, not to be confused with Big Lenny. He said, when did you start powerlifting? What were your initial numbers? How fast did you progress? So I don't have the exact numbers and time frame in my head right now, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go look back at the videos and I'll play them in a sec and kind of attach the date so you can get like a really good look at when I started and like when I hit, you know, the first big major milestones. So I've been lifting for a long time before I started, you know, really zooming in on powerlifting specifically. So I started weight training pretty regularly around 8th or 9th grade. It was like the summer after 8th grade. I think I went on like this big ass perma bulk and you know, I put on a crazy amount of weight. I was training so hard. All I wanted to do was be big pretty much. And yeah, so all throughout high school, I was training very consistently. I wasn't really into the powerlifting movements. I wasn't deadlifting very much. I was still like squatting, I was benching, but obviously, you know, no powerlifting program, no powerlifting competitions, nothing along those lines until after I graduated high school. All right, next question. Verdi Pubicala asked, are you the co-owner of Barbell Commission? So yeah, Barbell Commission was initially Oak's idea. He had been brainstorming it for a while. He knew this was something he wanted to do. So as he kind of started to formulate the plan, put it into action, he invited me into the venture. And of course I said yes. Thought it was an absolutely great idea. Here we are about a couple years later, doing great thanks to you guys. Thanks to everyone who's grabbed some since the initial launch. Really appreciate it. And more to come. All right, Nick Klee asked, what's the largest post-workout or post-something else meal you've had? Sorry, I had to do a little wardrobe change after reading that question. Started getting a sweat going just thinking about it. Also just completed the season sweep on Duke, so that's always nice. Well, Nick, let's just put it this way. We were approaching quadruple figures. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide whether that's pounds or calories. Next question from Badass Black Overlord. I have my suspicions that this could be Oak's burner, just throwing it out there. Kiger, I hope you spot this, but do you ever plan on ever reevaluating steroid use as you get past your mid-30s? Or you plan on staying natty to death? Very popular question here, Black Overlord. And the answer is yes, I do plan on reevaluating it. At this point, I'm not quite sure when I'll reevaluate it. I'm not sure if it'll be before my mid-30s maybe. But I'm not gonna sit here and swear off everything besides protein powder for the next 50 years. I think the thing about steroids is you have to look at your current situation, look at the goals you want to achieve, and then make a decision whether the side effects, possible health risks involved are worth going through to get you to that point. Right now I'm trying to get in better shape, you know, feel healthier on a day-to-day basis, slowly bring my strength up. None of these things require trend. Right now I'm just trying to take some steps back, build a very solid base, hopefully set myself up for some success in powerlifting down the road, and then hopefully give myself the opportunity to revisit this question at a later date, basically. Hopefully that answers that question. All right, here we have a question from Alexander ABC, a 3-part question. I may have to get the Kettle One out for this question, but all right, here we go. Number 1, where did you meet Oak? So besides running into him here and there at the local P.F. Chang's, the local Olive Garden, this was about 4 or 5 years ago now, so I knew he was in the New York area. I was in the northern Westchester area, if you know New York, kind of, at the time. I knew he was kind of down in the city. He was training at, if you guys have followed him for a while, you know the old gym, Coliseum. I think it's in like Queens. So I knew he was training there. I knew it wasn't too far. So I messaged him. I'm like, hey, I'm not too far from you. Is there any time you'd be around to train? All part of my genius ploy to go from dominance assertee to dominance asserter. But I was pleasantly surprised. He answered right away. He was like, yeah, I'm here every day pretty much, you know, come on down. And so he went down the next day to train, and that's that. The way I remember it is I walked in there, you know, invisible lat syndrome, but like my lats were really visible, huge. And, you know, walked right up to his squat rack, 800 on the bar like that, squatted it ass to grass, and stared him down. Well, some of the finer details there may be off. You get the gist of it. Number 2, what kept you staying natty when so many around you was gearing? Parentheses, I know you were still bigger than them without gear, but still. Preach, Alexander. And that basically just comes to what I touched on earlier about looking at where you currently are, looking at your goals, and then making the decision based on that. And that's, you know, that's really what I did too. You see people bigger and stronger than you, obviously, but you can still make progress naturally. I mean, I feel like these days a lot of people think you can't make progress unless you're on some type of gear, and that's just not true. Number 3, Cheesecake Factory or Arby's when taking out a BBW 300 plus pounds? Well, first of all, Alexander, we're talking 300 plus pounds? That could be a bison burger too. Was this a typo? Did you mean 4? Either way, I hate to go against Arby's, but in this instance, I'm gonna have to say Cheesecake Factory. In the BBW world, it's considered a step up from Arby's, while Arby's is treated more of like a low quality fast food chain, which it is not. I myself view it as 5-star dining, but you can't just think about yourself in this situation. You have to wine and dine her. So I'd go Cheesecake Factory. Don't you dare go near that Skinnylicious menu though. Next question from Johnny Marshall. Do you think social media has ruined or at least negatively impacted powerlifting? And he goes on to lay it out that he says with the Instagram craze, the social media craze, everyone's juiced to the gills trying to move massive weights in order to gain a following. Everyone's claiming to be a coach. You know, people used to lift because they enjoyed training. Now everyone's looking for recognition and to sell their bullshit, and it's become like a big giant popularity contest. So while I want to kind of sit here and agree with every one of those points you made and just say, yes, you're right, the other half of me knows that social media is the reason why I'm, you know, sitting here right now answering this question. But to answer your question, yes, powerlifting has without a doubt been negatively affected in certain ways by social media. People are feeling this Instagram pressure these days. They're, whether that means going off the rails with crazy drug protocols or crazy training methods. There's definitely this pressure, this frenzy, this stress just to get a leg up on the competition, the internet competition. I feel like I spend less and less time on Instagram these days just because powerlifting posts these days are just, they're so cringeworthy. I would say like 80% of them. Like there must be this unwritten rule that whenever you post an Instagram training video, you have to attach like 3 to 4 excuses in the caption. While I only really focused on the negatives here because that was what the question pertained to, obviously there are plenty of positives that social media has brought. Social media brings the good, bad, and the ugly wherever it goes, and powerlifting is no different. But again, that's the reason I'm sitting here right now answering this question, able to, you know, message with people on Instagram every day, YouTube, and it's pretty fun. So I'm glad it's here. I feel like I'm giving like essay answers to these questions. I've never done a Q&A before. I'm not sure if you're supposed to keep it short and sweet. I'll find out when I edit this back if we're like talking like 2 hours or not. Hopefully not. Next question by Nirvana Fan 500. What do you think about SSJ Bob being natural, fueled by carbs, and stronger than you? Weighs less and trained less. As a fellow natural tiger. Damn, bro, I got feelings. Right at the jugular, I like it. Just like anything you do, any sport you play, any job you have, there's always gonna be someone better than you. And he is just one of many that are stronger than me. So if you let that kind of stuff demotivate you, especially in like powerlifting, you're not going to be training for very long. I'm not sure if I was supposed to answer that seriously or if that was just an attack comment, but either way, there you have it. All right, next question from Wisest Camel 45. Hello Camel, happy hump day. College, what do you do there? And he meant like what I studied and that kind of stuff. For those of you who didn't know, for my freshman year back in 2013, I went to Auburn University in Alabama. And this was actually to play tennis. I know this is kind of a change up on you, but tennis and basketball were actually my main sports, you know, all the way growing up pretty much, tennis being more so. And I was only there for 1 year, my freshman year. After that point, I wanted to come back closer to home. And tennis had a little bit run its course for me at that time. You know, I was very into the fitness. That had been my passion for a long time, and it had kind of taken over. And to answer your question, while I was there, my major was exercise science. So then I came back up here after my freshman year, and right now, currently, I'm completing my degree in nutritional sciences. Next question, this one kind of ties into the one I just answered from Sam Worthamer. We need a Kiger Q&A. I got you, Sam. I know the channel is pretty BBW centered, but would love to hear about your decision and motivation to become a dietitian and how that journey is going so far. So yeah, nutrition has always been something that's kind of fascinated me ever since like 8th or 9th grade. Like even 9th grade, I think I mentioned it already in this video, went on like a huge bulk. At that point I was already, you know, playing around with different foods, seeing how it affected me, you know, with the weight gain, putting on muscle, and then, you know, a couple of years later losing fat, and just constantly like manipulating. In terms of school, you know, nutrition courses, something that, you know, are really interesting to me actually, as opposed to like a math course or something. Luckily only had to take a couple of those. But yeah, so that just makes, when it's something you're actually really interested in, it just makes it like 100 times easier. Because of that, there's a way better chance that you're gonna use that effectively after you graduate. All right, Andrew asks, are you gonna go back to Delray and get huge and freaky? Yes, it's been way too long. I wanna get back down there. I'm not sure exactly when yet. I'm not sure if it'll be able to happen this year at some point, but I definitely want to get back down there. Leonard's been getting a little too cocky. I gotta go put him in his place. I'll steal all the tan 10s. That was a Freudian slip. I'm probably not going to include that. Jack Daniels asks, I have some of you in the cabinet. Q&A with Keisha. Well, if you can find her, yeah, I'd love to. She's not answering my texts. All right, J.A. asks, will you continue with squats and deads once per week? Did you benefit from the increased bench frequency? Yes, I'm going to keep going with the squats and deads once per week right now. The back's holding up pretty well. I'm obviously that's susceptible to change. You know, sometimes it starts, I can feel it flaring up a little bit more than others, and that's when I may pull back one week and maybe, you know, take either squats or deads out and just do one of them that week. I always seem to benefit from increased bench frequency. A couple years ago, when my bench blew up the most was when I took it from benching like 1 day a week to 3, and even at some points I was benching 4 times a week. Now, while this may not be ideal for the long term, or for people, you know, dealing with shoulder problems, tendonitis problems, at that point, that increased frequency made a world of difference for me. you know, I just saw the numbers just shot up pretty much right away just from increasing it. I think this is also one thing that's highly individual, like a lot of things in powerlifting. Like I know Oak, you know, benches once a week, if that. And that's just, you know, what feels good for his elbow, shoulders, otherwise things start flaring up. Also, he's, you know, lifting some, you know, 500 plus pounds. So there's a lot of factors that, you know, go into it. Next question from Jeffrey Lord. Your videos are very cool. I don't know your story. Are you like a journalist who hangs out with strong guys? No, I'm just a regular lifter who sometimes competes in powerlifting. Maybe thinking about my side gig, but it's not strong guys, it's large ladies. Next question from Liam Hoey. We got a 4-part question here. Do you think Larry leaving makes BTC depressed? No, I think it's gonna take a lot more than that to make BTC depressed. If Irma left, that'd be a different story. Second question kind of covered already. Third question, do you plan on competing in powerlifting ever again? Yes, absolutely. I'm just not sure when at this particular moment. Just trying to get fully healthy first and get my strength back gradually, and then I'll make a plan on that. Number 4, what's your real life job? Since I was 15 or 16 years old, been teaching tennis. Kind of seems like the polar opposite of powerlifting almost. Next question from Ollie King. Tips for slaying Bertha? Make sure you have health insurance that covers ER visits, and also make sure you know a good chiropractor. Next question from Lawton Wacker. I see you, Wacker, on Instagram too. Are you planning on being at the Arnold next year? I'll be hosting a plus size booth for myself and fellow enthusiasts, and I'm trying to gauge interest to determine if I'll need to rent a cattle trailer or not when I drive down from Wisconsin. How can I not be after reading this? You know, it's such a breath of fresh air to see another enthusiast putting so much passion and energy into the industry that just seems like, you know, at times it seems like we're outcasts, but it's good to have you, Wacker, by my side, all the way from Wisconsin, driving that damn cattle trailer. Just leave room in the back for me. All right, I think I hit the vast majority of the questions. If I happen to miss one, just ask it in the comments section of this video and I'll just answer it there. But thank you for all those great questions. Really appreciate that. Very fun stuff. Might have to do another one of these again in the near future if that's something that would be of interest. Before I go, new barbell commission stuff dropping this coming weekend. I'm not sure when you'll be watching this, but I think that'll be like the weekend, like 15th or 16th of March, these should be dropping. We got new socks, deadlift crew, different colors, new compression shorts, which are all these designs you'll like, I think, the best out of any one that has been made yet. The stitching's a little bit different, very comfortable. So anyway, just wanted to give you a heads up. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video.